And one more reminder, if you want your Dairyland varieties on, make sure that you get it to us early enough for us to get it on, because we do send those out to get recorded. So, don't expect next day service necessarily. Maybe, but not necessarily. Okay, so back to the old this morning. Shaena.
Thanks a lot, back to the old.
I just mean Shayna's back. Back to the familiar.
This is your first time back on. Okay. And so let's get this right, Maria.
This isn't TV. They didn't know how truthful that was, Maria. It's great to be back, Maria. Thank you very much. And thank Beth. That was a long Dairyland variety, but a great place to have anything you're trying to get rid of or find or all kinds of stuff. We've got a couple of wonderful guests here this morning. We got Connie Green, Dr. Green, president of our Tillamook Bay Community College, and Scott Rocha. Good morning. Connie, why don't you tell us why you made Scott tag along this morning?
Well, and he will tell you if you see him that I did make him. I begged, appropriately so. So Scott is this amazing student at Tillamook Bay Community College. He qualified for our first-class scholar, which is great to have someone to talk about that. So we're going to ask about first-class scholar. He is also our first graduate out of our Ag Natural Resource Program. We started 2 years ago. He's the first one that got through those 2 years. So it's really exciting to have a graduate in that 2-year period. 3, he plans to go on at some point and continue and get a degree from Oregon State online. So he plans to use what we're creating here, which
Wonderful.
Is that online piece. 4, he has a business. So here's this young, amazing entrepreneur that has a business in our community and going to school, balancing those things. And that's why community college exists, to help people right out of high school, but to help people who want businesses, to help people who want to start here and then do online. He's kind of like, he's got all the components of why we as a community college are here.
Exactly.
He happens, so it's like Scott, and I begged him, because for someone who's got so many credits, he's a pretty shy guy, would you come? Because I'd like to ask you questions so other people can hear why all these things. You might access one of them, you might qualify for one of them, but they're all here at your local community college. And it's not my story, it's his story. And that's the only reason we exist is for people to tell their stories through us. We don't exist because we're an institution and a building. We exist because people have a hope and a dream. How can we help you do your hope and dream? And what's our part of helping you get where you want to go?
Well, one of the things that's exciting to me, Scott, it sounds like you have a plan. And a lot of times and how many times, I was one of them when I went to Portland State. Oh, General, you didn't really have a plan. You've got a plan, don't you?
Yeah, and it's kind of something that I do a little bit make up as I go, but it's kind of something I've always seen myself doing. Connie said a lot of very nice things about me,
and they're all true.
But I'm just a student at this wonderful college.
You're lucky to have it.
And the first class scholarship was a very valuable opportunity for me. It gave me a real opportunity to go to college without thinking about the financial aspects that
Good point.
that could hold me back. And then I get to go to OSU next year through the online agricultural science program. That I am also really excited about.
Exactly. Now, Connie, you mentioned a business that you're in, Scott?
Yeah. So it's a family dairy. It's Tideland Dairy Goats. It's the first dairy goat farm in Tillamook County. It's 120 dairy goats. And we ship our milk out to a small creamery called Briar Rose Creamery out in Dundee in McMinnville area.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have goat milk going to the wine country.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. It's really
That
perfect.
makes sense.
Yeah, but it is.
Yeah. And they make a lot of different cheeses with it, a lot of artisan cheeses. And they've done some really big awards with it. And that's kind of what I'm doing with the dairy goats. And then there's, of course, the cows.
Right. And now you said the dairy goats, you said 120
now.
That's a decent size, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
But it didn't start out with 120.
Oh, it started out as a small little 4-H project.
Excellent.
10 goats, and it's been a 15-year process going from these 10 goats in 4-H to now 120 grade A dairy farm, the whole business.
And the milking barn's set up because they're not like cows.
No, it's not, and it's actually not like a regular a dairy goat milking barn facility either. It's still like a very large hobby the way it's set up. It's not as commercial as you would think it would be.
Okay.
When you go look at it, these other dairy farms that are milking thousands of goats. Mm-hmm. So it's not like that either. And it's actually just a renovated little cow barn that we owned, a dairy cattle milking parlor. Mm-hmm. So it's small and cute that way.
That's excellent, and I'm impressed. Now, is it a little more labor intensive that way then?
It is a little more labor intensive,
Yeah.
but it's kind of a little bit more personal because we do a lot of different things with the goats. We show the goats; they're a pedigree herd, so there's that aspect as well.
Then, are you going to raise goats for others too? Is that, or you just raise them for yourself?
It's just for us.
Okay.
We sell goats everywhere. We sold goats into Canada and Mexico. Like, we're a pretty big deal, I think.
So
So
excellent.
how did you come about thinking about going from a 4-H project to, oh, let's get a few more, to, oh, by the way, we want these pedigree goats, and oh, by the way, we'd like to sell them internationally. Mm-hmm. Give me the path, because some of it wasn't just, oh, this is a 22-step path to get there. Some doors just opened along the way. So can you just share how some of those things happened?
Okay, so in the very beginning, we got a couple of goats. And then we started getting more goats. And now we all have to figure out what are we going to do with all these goats.
And you got more goats because they're really cute. You got more goats because
they're really cute.
Okay, great.
And they reproduce like really fast. So all of a sudden you can double. You double every year. Mm-hmm. And so there's that way. And so we got to figure out how to turn this hobby into a business. There was that necessity to make money and to support all these goats that we want to have. Okay. And so that was kind of that transformation. And then we decided we're not going to have bad goats. We decided we're going to have good goats. Okay.
You don't want the average goat. You want the top of the line goat.
Yeah,
okay.
It's worth the while.
Makes sense.
And so that's kind of how that whole area got started.
And so you kept showing, because 4-H has a showing part. So you kept showing. At what point in the showing and going to the top of the line goats did you realize that you could also then breed and ship internationally between Canada and Mexico?
Kind of when they started coming to us, because we didn't just show it locally. We go as far as Colorado and to Madison this year, doing our whole goat show thing. So we get a lot of attention from the dairy goat industry, which is actually a growing industry because goat milk and goat cheese is kind of really booming right now.
Well, I think I see that the goat milk and soaps, etc. I mean, it is must be the market has to be booming, I would suppose.
Yeah.
I don't think they're talking about making soap out of cow milk.
So in the midst of you and your family taking this 4-H hobby and moving the hobby into a business, somewhere along the way in high school, you decided you want to keep going and get in some kind of background in ag natural resources. So what made, besides a first-class scholar, why did you choose Tillamook Bay? I mean, yes, there's a tuition scholarship, but was there any other reason to go to Tillamook Bay?
Tillamook Bay was kind of a good opportunity for me to stay and work at this business because it's still growing. That still needs a lot of attention. And so I have my classes and then I go home and get my work done. So that was kind of a very important aspect of the whole idea. Tillamook Bay also has a lot of resources available. The people there are great. And just kind of that aspect.
So I remember when we were kicking off the Ag Natural Resource Program, and you were one of the first people to talk to Emily Henry about it and said, "That's what I want. It's going to start when I'm able to get started." I think you and she talked at the fair or something, because Emily came back. I think we have someone really wanting this program, and it was you, Scott. And we knew it was coming. It took us a while. It took us 2 years to develop it. We worked with the stakeholders, so we knew it was coming. We just had to go through the process of accreditation and the state and everybody saying yes because it was a new program. In that process, what my observation is going through those 2 years is the first 2 years of any new program is hard because you design it, then you have to bring up all the courses, and you've never done them before. We tried really hard to use all the course syllabus and the course numbers from Oregon State to make it easier to transfer. So in many ways, you were that first class through of, we've never offered this animal science course, we've never offered this course. How did that feel to you, walking into a course that you knew had never been offered and people just wanted to try to help? Was it fun? Was it scary? I'm just curious because, we're redesigning some other programs, and I'm not the student. So how does it feel when you're the student?
When you're the student, at first you kind of feel like you're the guinea pig. Like
I was wondering, yeah.
You don't really know how it's going to go. But then you have these people like Emily and Hayden Bush that kind of really know what they're doing. They're really professionals in their field as well. So you feel like you're in good hands as well.
Excellent. You two, we're going to visit some more about our Ag and Natural Resources program in that new building that's
we will talk about that too.
But we're going to take a short break for a great sponsor, and we'll be right back with Connie and Scott. But if you want the real thing, quality beef right out of the smokehouse, Tillamook Country Smoker is pulling out a batch for you right now. Tillamook Country Smoker has several large smokehouses and many drying rooms packed with row after row of smoked meats. They ship thousands of pounds throughout the world every day. You can visit the retail store on Warren Street at Highway 101 in Bay City. They're open 9 to 5, 7 days a week. Try to discover the secret ingredient to your favorite flavor of jerky. It's a family-owned business that's been turning out a unique brand of beef jerky for well over 50 years. Stop by the retail store and pick up some 2-foot-long pepperoni, teriyaki, and beef sticks. They're only $1. And have you tried their summer sausage? It's the real deal, not that greasy-tasting stuff those other guys make. Tillamook Country Smoker. If we're going to eat healthy, this is the way to do it. And be sure to visit them online at tcsjerky.com. And we're back visiting with Scott and Connie. I see activity over there. How's the new facility coming? That's going to be sharp when that's all done, isn't it, Scott?
It looks pretty great.
Yeah. It does. So the Partners for Innovation building will be the new home for Oregon State Extension, open campus, and our Ag Natural Resource classroom will be in that building. So that's pretty exciting for us. Yes, the concrete slab is poured. I think today their goal is to there'll be tilt-ups, like we built the current building, so they're pouring the next set of tilt-ups today. Hopefully sometime in mid-June. It takes them about a day and a half to have all those tilt-ups then come up. So that's happening. There's a sidewalk that we had worked with the city and county on to go from the college, from our side of the 3rd Street, go to the college, down to a certain point along the county fairgrounds there, and then there'd be a crossover with flashing lights and whatever to the new building. And then the county and the fairgrounds decided, since we're already putting the sidewalk in and we already have the contractor lined up, why not go ahead and extend the sidewalk? So for the fair, you've got the sidewalk that will go the whole way down to the road.
Right.
Yeah, so so that was a decision by the county and the fairgrounds, thinking this just makes sense. Good time. Let's do it. I know I know the sad part is 3 big, beautiful trees come down because that's where the sidewalk goes. Yeah. But once we put the sidewalk in, everyone has worked really hard to put it inside the zone. So
getting as close to the 4-H building,
so it will get pretty close to that. And whenever we get the second phase of 3rd Street, we won't have to tear up the sidewalk. It is not right next to the road. There's a gap, so it's on the edge of the right of way. Because if you put it right next to the road, like you might want to do, if the road changes, the engineering, whatever, so it comes over a little bit, so the sidewalk will stay.
Excellent.
So it's a great use of all of our resources. So so somewhere between now and fair time, there'll be a sidewalk, and the white fencing's coming down for a while to put all the grading in, and the white fence will go back up around the fairground area. So if you see something on the one side, know it's everyone is working together to make some things work there. And on the other side, we just heard from one of our grants that we applied for the building. Our hope was to have this building built with no debt on it. So when Extension moved in and we had our classroom, really what we're taking care of is maintenance, electricity, but we're not paying on a building. And so it's about a $5 million project, and we are within $286,000 of making it.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Good job, Tillamook. Well, you've had a lot of people. I know some.
We had some great people help kick us off. Then we did a whole group of foundations in the middle. And somewhere the whole community will get some information, most likely in middle of July, because we've got a couple more grants to get in and a few other things. But we'll kind of wrap up this last piece and kind of ask others to join in, whether it's $5 or $500 or $5,000.
Sure.
Ask others. But so if we use the community kickoff, that community kickoff from Helen Ginger at $200, Ellen Budd at $200,000, Riggerts at $100, TCCA at $200.
Right.
That $500,000 leveraged almost $1 million from foundations.
Wow.
Well, which is exciting.
Impressive.
Several different foundations helping in multiple ways, and so. And then there's resources from Oregon State Extension, of course, so they'll sell their building, so that will go toward it as well. They will.
That's what I was going to say. Are you going to have any kind of lease space in there? You've got the state off. How does that
So
work?
what's going to happen is Oregon State Extension, that's going to be their home, so
Right.
there'll be some partial ownership that will go to them, and economic development, small business development, and Travel to my Coast will be in that building, as well as our Ag Natural Resource Classroom. And the rest will really be used for extension and open campus.
Excellent.
And so it's pretty exciting. They should be in by the end of January at the latest, potentially earlier. So we're excited about getting there.
They
I think
should
once the
be.
walls go up, and community, it's been pretty amazing. And so our intent was, how do you blend Ag Natural Resources, our curriculum, with extension and with entrepreneurship? I mean, the reason we wanted small business development, economic development at the front door is Scott's family is a great example of entrepreneurship. How do we do more connections and support more entrepreneurship in our Ag Natural Resource space?
It's so impressive because Scott is exactly the steps, whether you followed it from your goats in 4-H 15 years ago to what you're doing now, is exactly what 4-H can and does do.
Yeah, and what a great thing that to serve a building that really serves our community. With our community is based on agriculture and natural resources, timber industry. Like, this building is what really our community needs.
And our hope is the building creates a space. A building is a space, but if you put the right people there, and if you only have one stop, so if I'm a forester, a farmer, a small woodlands owner, I've got my oyster beds, whatever it is, but most people check in with extension on certain things. Well, if we can take the extension piece and the small business piece and the economic development piece, and you have a little bit of tourism in that. So if you want to market something,
Huge.
let's say Scott decided I'm making this up. It could be really the dumbest idea. So people listening, it could be a dumb idea. But let's say Scott wanted to really help people understand when they come here how you raise goats, the value of goats, and whatever. He could we could create a place to go for goats, a place to go for cows, a place to go how it's used at the creamery. We could do a whole cheese and milk trail.
Well, I think some of people are fascinated by those types of things.
Then tourism can help pay to market that.
Yeah.
So now you've got a way to expose people who don't live here to understand that it takes space and it takes a certain kind of climate and it takes a certain kind of, it changes things. So I think there's a way, the reason we wanted tourism there was it doesn't fit for all, but there's some things that marketing resource could help people see our way of doing business that is very smart. People in this community have amazing businesses and they're smart people. And I think sometimes when people come to visit, they come to visit the coast, which is fine, and they look past all the businesses that thrive here.
Well, look at Scott's neighbor, Tilla Bay Farms, and the Lely Robots, the Priority Robotics. There is something that I think people they see, oh, look at those beautiful cows, but they don't know what innovative things are happening in this
science
county.
And technology.
Yeah.
Right.
And it really is. You think about people want to talk a lot about science, technology, engineering, math, the STEM, and we have so much of science, technology happening in our community. It's how do you showcase that, and how do you help people take the next step? Part of Open Campus is it may not be a whole degree program, but if we can bring a workshop, if we can bring an expert over, we can do that through Open Campus. So this building gives us a place to share differently and to work with people differently to help make our community even better. And it's a great community. So anybody in the community hear this, we are wonderful. But how do you sustain that? And how do you make sure that you can help people go to that next hope and dream?
Well, some years back, listening to the next step after, and I've always been impressed with our IMT program, our industrial maintenance and technology, but back when I was hearing about the ag and natural resources, and now to see it truly have a life.
Well, and this fall coming up, we have redesigned the IMT program. There are little certificates built in, so that not little certificates, but the certificates that chunk things down so that people can get something in manufacturing or whatever to help. So it could help our any of our farms and natural resources. You want to pick up some welding skills and some problem-solving skills. Those skills are in that. Those skills are in that certificate. Yeah. The name is changing as well, but it's exciting to watch that. We redesigned the criminal justice and public safety program, so it has some certificates built in. So you have multiple avenues. So that's coming out. Ag and Natural Resource has their pieces. Business administration is totally online, and now we have all of our services totally online, so you don't have to come to the campus. And this upcoming fall, we're going to do actually a full-day orientation. We have, you've heard about the Oregon Promise. Mm-hmm. And so we know of about 50 students who have applied for Oregon Promise and put Tillamook Bay down as a first or second choice. So we're reaching out to them. But for Oregon Promise, you have to go through an orientation. You have to take a first-term course on success, which we offer, the CG 100 that I think Scott did as well. But we're going to have a full-day orientation so that people can actually register early as first-time students and even get a better feel for the library, the resources, the career technical programs. We have students come oftentimes and they say, I'm not sure what I want. Scott knew what he wanted. I'm not sure what I want. I'll just get a general science degree. Our hope is to help you find, if we can, something you would like so that you walk away with a skill plus a degree. Because a skill plus a degree helps you in a rural community, but it also helps you in an urban community.
Absolutely.
So I'm pretty excited about what's ahead in this upcoming year.
Let me take one more quick break, and we'll be right back with Connie and Scott. Mm-hmm. But Tillamook Motor Company, as part of the Ford Focus on Hunger, joins other Ford dealers throughout the Northwest to collect jars of peanut butter, adding to the kid-friendly foods at the Oregon Food Bank. The peanut butter drive runs through the 21st, so that's right coming right around the corner here. To make a donation, take your jars of peanut butter to Tillamook Motor Company. That's 501 Main Avenue, between the hours of 8 and 6, Monday through Friday, and from 9 to 4 on Saturday. Last year's drive, they collected nearly 30,000 pounds of peanut butter, feeding kids throughout the summer. This drive is part of a 5-state campaign in the Pacific Northwest by Ford dealers to support their community food banks and to make sure no child goes hungry this summer. Take that jar of peanut butter over to Tillamook Motor Company. And we're back visiting with Connie and Scott. And Scott, you're graduating. That's June 10th.
It is.
I think so.
It is June 10th. Community's invited. Our graduates is going to be a lot of fun. And then our summer classes begin on June 24th. And if you looked at the new summer schedule, we tried to make sure that we put in a variety of unique things. So Michael Cattell is going to do a photography class for us. And Bruce Koike, who is down in Lincoln County area, does a lot of fish prints that are sold nationally. He's doing some fish print art for us. So we try to bring in some special kind of summer things. But we also have great credit classes. So like on our online business degree, there's a group of classes that if someone needs them, we'll do them one-on-one independent study to get people caught up. So that's in the schedule. As always, we've got our biology, our public speaking. So if you're going off to college or you're home for the summer and you want to pick up something, there's some history, geology. We're doing the Holocaust series again. That was so there's some great credit courses as well as we tried to make some fun courses. So I encourage people to look at summer, look at fall. We're looking forward to a fall and some new program redesigns that help people fit them in. We know that more and more students are part-time students, and our hope is that you can say you'll see in the catalog when it comes out. Here's the 2 years, and you may not get every elective you want, but in 2 years you can get your degree. So, and these classes will go as long as they're one student. We won't cancel them, so they will go no matter what. So you can get through in 2 years. But if you're a part-time student, think about it. Okay, it might take me 4 years, but if you know when it's going to be offered, fall, winter, spring, and it's a first or second year course, you know when to fit it into your schedule. Yeah. So our hope is we're giving to the community an easy map, so you can say, this is how I can get there and still go to school part-time. And if you're not sure, John Sousa, we have a brand new, he's a career education advisor. Also, Kara Eldred is coming on as a career education advisor, willing to work with anybody, part-time or full-time, and say, let's create a plan so that we know when this class is offered, fall, winter, spring. So if it's going to take you 6 years to get through, let's have a plan so you can get through. If you're going to get through in 2 years, let's have a plan so that you can work it around your life. Excellent. And that's our hope.
And that seems like it's what's worked well for you, Scott. I mean, you can go to school and still get home and take care of your other to work and home.
Right. The community college does a really good job at offering classes, really no matter how small the class can be, which has been really beneficial in finishing my degree. Some of the classes, there was only 2 kids in them, and I think actually that's what I like the best, because you get really a lot more time and a lot better education, I think. But so that was really beneficial in completing my degree, and because they offer those classes no matter what.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, this has been a lot of fun. There's a lot of stuff going on for the next few days. I mean, a long list
there
of
is.
things.
You have a long list there, and
I do.
it's that time
I do.
of year. So, I just thank you always for having Tillamook Bay on once a month, because it is fun to share stories or to bring along people like Scott.
Thank you for bringing Scott. And Scott, thank you for stopping by. This is really enjoyable. And I followed a little bit about, I'd seen some pictures of the goat, the milking barn, which, when I was a kid, we had about 6 milking goats, and so we had a big box for him to stand on. We had one goat, her name was Satina, because she had to have a square can behind her, because she sat down on the edge of the bucket if you didn't put some there for her to sit on. But they were, but the best milk for the calves. That was great milk for our calves.
So you're volunteering to help out as a backup milker?
No,
of Scott? Okay,
I was
just
looking for someone.
I was trying to recruit for Scott, you know.
But yeah, and great. I wasn't a fan. My youngest brother, liked the taste of goat's milk. I wasn't a fan of it myself. But you're right. I think there's more. There's soaps and so many things, and people, and the goat cheeses have always been around. Fascinating that it's going over to Dundee.
Goat cheese is really good.
It is. It's really
pretty
good. Well, folks, we got, as usual, there's senior meals, 11:30 at St. Mary's by the Sea in Rockaway Beach. That's every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And there's senior meals noon every weekday at Kiowanda Community Center in Pacific City. Also today, late-stage dementia, learning, coping, caregiving. That's a seminar today from 12:30 to 3:30 in the Hatfield Room at our main library. Tillamook Youth Football sign-ups for fall season this Friday from 5 to 7 out at the Port batting cages. Pass the word to parents of potential players who are currently in 2nd grade. The 3rd graders playing football, just a second. The coaching staff will be available to get the kids fitted and answer any questions. That's from 5 to 7 on Friday. Saturday morning from 8 to 11, Powered by Teen 4-H Club is having a pancake breakfast at OSU Extension Office on 4th Street in Tillamook. Not forever, though, but right now it's still there. And it's by donation, and the proceeds will help sponsor a delegation of 13 youth. Tillamook County is sending to Washington, D.C. to participate in the inauguration in January. Also Saturday at 11:30, there's a lunch and a sneak peek at Pacific Restaurant's new digs on 2nd and Main for those signed up for the 2nd annual walking tour of some of the properties available in downtown. Val Schumann said there are about 20 spots left on the tour, so get in touch with Val if you'd like to be included. Over the next 3 weeks, we'll be giving away Portland Rose Festival prize packages, including admission to City Fair and rides. First person to call after the show gets a second prize package and is entered in the chance to win indoor reserved tickets for the Grand Floral Parade Saturday, June 11th. Call me at 842-4422 in just a little bit. And remember, May and June is when newborn animals are getting their start. Help them out by giving them space and leaving them alone. If an animal is injured or truly orphaned, it needs special care. You can call Fish and Wildlife, Oregon State Police, or give our Tillamook Animal Shelter a call if you've got some questions or concerns. Tomorrow, tune in. We've got County Commissioner Mark Labhart joining us. But for today, thank you, Connie, and thank you, Scott, and good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks
good
a
luck
lot.
You both. Thank you a lot.